Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is, well, it's pretty simple. We take that fire hose of information you see everywhere, dense articles, research papers, long interviews, and we try to distill it.
Yeah, we boil it down into the crucial need-to-know insights.
Exactly. So you walk away feeling like you're instantly well-informed. And today, we are peering deep into the future being built by Meta.
Specifically, it's this ambitious vision laid out by Mark Zuckerberg for what he is betting, and I mean betting big, will be the next major era of computing.
After the mobile internet, which is a huge thing to say.
Oh, it is. And I think the scale of this subject really dictates the high stakes we're looking at.
You know, we're talking about the strategic mindset of a leader whose platforms are used by, nearly half the human population.
Something like that, yeah. And our source material for this is this really extensive, and I have to say a remarkably candid interview. It gives us a rare glimpse into the philosophical underpinnings.
And the ultimate goals, right,
Yep.
of the tech they're building.
Right. Everything from the microscopic details of the hardware all the way up to the massive scaling challenges of their AI.
That's right. So our goal today is to synthesize this incredibly ambitious vision. We want to paint a clear, coherent picture of this imagined future platform so that you can really grasp the implications.
Whether you're a learner, a consumer, a citizen.
We're going to focus on those surprising facts, those little nuggets of insight, and the, profound societal debates that kind of cut through the marketing buzz.
To get to the heart of what this technology really means for how we live, how we connect, and even how we think.
Yeah, it's really a two-part investigation.
Yeah.
First, we need to understand the technical leap required to even make this future possible.
And second, to evaluate the societal assumptions they're making about human needs, especially around connection and, this is the interesting part, the role of struggle in personal growth.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If this is the next major platform, it has to start with a piece of hardware, something that replaces the phone.
It has to.
So let's dive straight into the physical reality, starting with this decade-long engineering feat they're calling the real-life Tony Stark glasses. The centerpiece of this whole future, the thing that represents, 10 years of specialized research and development, is this prototype. The first full holographic augmented reality glasses.
And that nickname, the Tony Stark glasses, it really stuck.
Well, yeah, it speaks to the sheer complexity of what they're trying to achieve.
It does. It reflects that aspirational goal of, seamless, powerful integration of digital information right into the physical world. And these are fundamentally different from today's VR headsets.
Right, because they don't replace your vision. They augment it.
They augment it with stable, high-fidelity holograms.
And the source material made a point of noting how incredibly difficult these are to manufacture right now.
Oh, absolutely. We're not talking mass production yet. We're talking about prototypes where only maybe a few thousand have even been made.
That just speaks volumes about the complexity, the level of miniaturization required to pull this off.
Total miniaturization. That's really the key phrase. Defining true, full augmented reality in this context means taking all the necessary computing power.
The sensors, the projectors, batteries, all of it.
All of it. And shrinking it down to fit into a relatively normal-looking pair of glasses. The whole promise is to project full, robust, stable holograms directly into the real world.
With a wide field of view. That part's critical, isn't it?
It's necessary for the brain to even accept the illusion.
So let's move beyond the typical examples of AR we might see today, like a filter on a photo or a digital sticky note on your desk. What does the full vision look like when it's successfully miniaturized into those glasses?
The vision is one of complete digital presence. I mean, imagine having a conversation with a colleague or a family member who's on the other side of the planet.
Sure.
But to you, they're sitting right there across the conference table, rendered as a stable, realistic, full-body hologram. They are effectively here.
So it's not a flat video stream on a screen?
Not at all. It's a three-dimensional being interacting with your physical space.
And that completely redefines interaction. The source mentioned not just work, but games and entertainment.
Right, you could be playing poker or chess, and the holographic cards, the holographic board, it's all seamlessly integrated into your actual living room.
This would remake entire fields.
Absolutely. Think about productivity. You could have 3 holographic monitors just floating in front of you no matter where you're physically sitting.
Or science, manipulating a holographic model of a protein structure in real time.
Education, entertainment, gaming. All of it is fundamentally changed by that level of integration.
Okay, to really understand how audacious this is, we have to geek out for a minute on the technical details.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like any consumer electronics we've ever handled.
Let's start with the display system.
Yeah.
It's crucial to understand that these glasses do not use traditional display panels. There's not a tiny screen in front of your eye.
So what are they using?
They rely on an extremely complex optical system called a waveguide system.
Okay, let's unpack that. If it's not a screen, how does the light get into my eye in a way that looks like a hologram floating 10 feet away?
So think of the lens itself as a very specialized piece of glass, almost like a complex flat prism.
Okay.
You have these tiny microprojectors, usually on the side of the glasses frame, that shoot light into this waveguide.
Into the glass itself.
Exactly. And built across the surface of the glass are these incredibly fine microscopic structures, they call them nanoetchings, which are precisely calculated to catch that light beam.
So those etchings are like tiny internal mirrors or something.
Precisely. They reflect the light out of the glass and directly into the wearer's eye at a very specific angle. That's what causes your brain to perceive a hologram projected onto the real world.
That's the engineering miracle right there.
It really is, creating a complex, full-color, wide field of view display that is essentially flat and transparent.
But creating the image is only half the battle. To make sure those holograms stay perfectly placed, like, if I walk past that holographic chessboard, it can't wobble or glitch.
No, it has to be rock solid. And that requires constant, real-time context. Synchronization with the physical world.
And that's where the sensory system comes in.
Right. The glasses have these sophisticated context sensors, miniature cameras, depth sensors, and an eye tracking system.
Yeah.
They're constantly illuminating your eyes and the environment.
Mapping the geometry of the room, tracking where you're looking.
And understanding where physical objects are, all in real time.
And all of that information is critical for stability.
Yeah.
It lets the system just instantaneously place the holograms accurately in 3D space.
And then on top of that, you have all the other miniaturized components packed into the frame.
Batteries, microphones, speakers for audio.
And the radio. And as the source noted, even with this level of miniaturization, you still need a high bandwidth radio.
Why the radio? Again, if it has all this compute power built in, why does it need to communicate externally?
Because true heavy-duty processing, like running the largest AI models or rendering these massive shared holographic environments, it still requires more power than you can currently fit into a battery that lasts all day inside a glasses frame.
So the radio lets the glasses offload the heavy lifting.
Exactly. To a nearby powerful device, maybe your phone or a server. The glasses function as a powerful real-time peripheral.
That's a subtle but really important point. It's not a standalone supercomputer. It's more like a portal that accesses high-level computing power.
Yeah.
And the input method that goes with this is just as advanced. This wrist-based neural interface. What is that exactly?
The neural interface is designed to translate extremely subtle muscle movements, or eventually just the intention to move, into system control.
It's a wristband.
It's a wristband that senses electrical signals in your forearm. So instead of having to physically move your hand to click a mouse, you can perform these almost imperceptible hand movements.
Slight twitch of the thumb, something like that.
A twitch of the thumb, and you can navigate and interact with the whole holographic environment.
So it's not mind reading.
Not at all.
But it's a way to control the digital world without physical controllers or even big visible gestures.
Which is a key piece of that miniaturization puzzle. Total control, but completely unobtrusive.
So this incredible piece of hardware, they're pitching it as the next platform. Why the aggressive push to replace something as ubiquitous as the phone?
Well, if you look at the whole arc of computing history, the movement is really consistent. It's a directional flow.
We started with massive centralized mainframes,
which gave way to personal tower computers, which then became portable and integrated into our lives with the smartphone. The trend is always toward computing becoming more ubiquitous, more natural, and critically, more social.
And the argument is that the phone is actually an unnatural plateau in that progression.
Exactly. The source material described it as pretty unnatural. It forces you to look down, constantly shielding your face and your attention from your immediate environment.
It pulls you out of the physical space you're in.
Right. It locks your attention into a small glass rectangle. AR glasses, by contrast, are positioned as the natural next step because they let you interact with all that digital content while staying fully present and engaged with the real world.
That makes sense philosophically, but practically, Replacing the phone is a massive undertaking. The source clarified this future isn't defined by one single device.
No, it's an entire ecosystem, a spectrum of 4 permanent product lines coexisting.
Which is a crucial market strategy insight, right?
It is. They recognize that one single, expensive, hyper-complex device can't meet every need or price point. So the approach is to segment the market and have a device for every need.
Okay, let's run through those 4 lines, starting at the high end, the fully immersive stuff.
First, you have the full headsets, the mixed reality devices. Products like the Quest line will continue to exist and evolve.
Why, if the glasses are the future?
Because no matter how good miniaturization gets, you can always fit significantly more compute power, higher res screens, and bigger batteries into a full headset.
So they'll stay as the go-to for the most demanding applications, like high-fidelity gaming or complex work simulations.
Exactly. And they're being really aggressive on the price point there to drive adoption.
They mentioned the Quest 3, delivering high-res color mixed reality for $500.
Which is way more accessible than some of the competition. And then the Quest 3S dropping the price even further to $299. That's all about accessibility and competing with console gaming.
You're trying to create a base level of entry that's just impossible to ignore.
Then you jump to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, the second product line. The displayless glasses, like the Ray-Ban Metas.
These are all about form factor, affordability, and utility.
Right. Their main function is as an advanced wearable sensor hub for your AI. They're basically smart ears and eyes for your personalized intelligence.
You talk to it, it talks back.
And it acts as a camera and microphone to contextualize your life. But they look, feel, and cost pretty similar to normal high-end glasses, so they're socially acceptable.
Then the third category is that middle ground, the heads-up display, or HUD glasses.
Right. This category has a smaller field of view, maybe 20 to 30 degrees, so it's not enough for full-scale interactive holograms.
But it's perfect for practical, quick information.
Yeah, exactly. Think directions showing up discreetly, search results appearing instantly, or, and this connects back to that neural interface, text notifications popping up from the wristband.
And that just makes sense. We read faster than we listen, so getting a text overlay from the neural interface is way more efficient.
It optimizes the information flow. It's for efficiency, not immersion.
And finally, the fourth line is that premium ultimate goal, the full holographic AR glasses we started with.
The vision is that while these will be the most expensive at first, the hope is that the tech matures and manufacturing scales enough to make them generally accessible.
Like a modern laptop or a high-end smartphone is today.
The risk, of course, is fragmentation, confusing the consumer with 4 categories. But the source suggests it's a necessary strategy.
By creating this gradient of interaction, from simple AI awareness to full digital immersion to seamless daily augmentation, they kind of hedge their bets.
And they ensure they capture users at every interest and price level. It's a whole computing ecosystem designed so you never have to pull out your phone.
So if the hardware is the vehicle, the fuel driving this whole platform is a set of core experiential values. It's not just about making a faster computer, it's about changing the fundamental experience of reality.
And the first, and maybe the most powerful of those values, is presence.
Presence. This is the holy grail, as they call it.
It is, because it's the element that's really missing from our digital interactions right now. It's defined as that visceral, deep-seated feeling of being physically present with another person.
A feeling that, a video call or a phone call just can't match. They flatten the experience.
And that quest for presence is what generates all the optimism for this platform. The ability to sit down and interact with a distant parent, to lose in a game of Scrabble to them, and genuinely feel that they are really there in front of you.
That's a powerful emotional driver.
And when the technology works perfectly, that visceral reaction is profound. People report feeling physically exhausted after a long virtual meeting because their brain truly believed they were in a room with other people.
But there's a massive immediate limitation here.
Yeah.
The lack of touch. The source acknowledged this directly. I miss hugging my mom, and haptics is hard.
It is. Even if the visual and auditory illusion is perfect, the inability to feel breaks that presence instantly.
So haptic technology is the next frontier. And it sounds like a tremendous physical and engineering challenge.
It is, but the progress is strategic. They predict progress will start with the hands, and this ties back into fundamental neurology.
Let's bring back the homunculus model here.
Yes. The cortical homunculus, it's that distorted map of the human body where the size of each part is proportional to the area of the brain's cortex that's devoted to sensation and movement for that part.
And on that map, The hands and face are huge.
Disproportionately large. So they are the most important sensory areas for interaction, communication, and fine motor detail.
So the engineering logic is clear. If they can nail haptics for the hands simulating touch, texture, vibration, they get the biggest return on investment in terms of the experience.
Absolutely. The hands are the entry point. The source mentioned that fascinating demo of the virtual ping pong game.
Right.
You aren't just feeling a generic vibration. The controller gives you feedback specific to where the digital ball hits the paddle.
That localized contextual feedback just enhances the illusion of a physical object.
Significantly. But they hit a hard wall when it comes to true force feedback.
So you can simulate texture and subtle impact, but sustain physical interactions like the example of virtual jiu-jitsu.
But that remains probably the hardest thing to achieve.
That would require simulating real, sustained physical resistance.
The force of grappling, pushing, pulling, and doing that without a massive, immobile exoskeleton is a physics problem we just haven't solved.
So it's vital to remember that achieving presence isn't about one feature being perfect.
No, it's about the entire system being so seamless that it doesn't break the illusion.
That's the psychological secret sauce.
It is. The system succeeds when the user's subconscious mind accepts the reality. They cited a fascinating development story. Users were so convinced they dropped a virtual ping pong paddle and it shattered, forgetting for a split second that it wasn't real.
That's the moment they know they've convinced the brain.
And the things that pull you out of that illusion.
Anything that violates your brain's expectation of reality.
Low field of view, high latency, that delay between your movement and the digital response, or just physics that behave unrealistically.
This also gets into the authenticity of the avatars. You'd think the highest fidelity photorealism is always the goal, but the research they discussed was surprising.
It was counterintuitive. They found that people are generally fine mixing photorealistic Kodak avatars with, say, a cartoon world, or vice versa. The environment and the representation don't need to match in style.
So a hyper-realistic me can walk into a cartoon mushroom forest and my brain doesn't just reject it.
Correct. Because the crucial factor for realism and authenticity isn't the hyper-fidelity of the rendering, it's whether the avatar mimics the authentic mannerisms of the person you're interacting with.
So if the digital version moves and gestures like the real person, even a cartoon version feels right.
Exactly. Our brains prioritize interaction cues, nonverbal communication over pure photorealism.
Okay, so the second core value driving this future platform is personalized intelligence. We've all seen LLMs like Llama get exponentially smarter, but the argument here is that raw intelligence just isn't enough.
No, the ultimate compelling factor comes from deep personalization.
That's the leap from a general search engine to a truly helpful co-pilot.
Right. To become genuinely useful, the AI needs context. Not just generic data, but context about what's happening globally in your life. Your calendar, your past searches, and critically, what is physically happening right now. It needs immediate situational awareness.
And this is where the hardware and the software loop back together.
Yeah.
The AR glasses are the ideal sensor hub to deliver that context.
Absolutely. The form factor is key. The glasses sit on your face, giving the AI the ability to see what you see and hear what you hear.
Our two most important senses for taking in information.
They essentially become the eyes and ears of your personal AI, feeding it a continuous, rich stream of real-time context.
Give me an example of what that kind of contextual intelligence looks like.
Okay, think about a business scenario. You walk into a meeting, your glasses see the room, identify the people, hear the conversation starting, and feed all that to your personal AI.
Okay.
The AI can then proactively whisper key facts about the person you're talking to. It can remind you of a topic you discussed last week, or pull up a crucial data point from your notes.
All appearing discreetly on your HUD.
This moves the AI from being a tool you have to query to being an active, always-on partner that anticipates your needs.
So the future platform is defined by the convergence of these two capabilities. The feeling of presence that makes digital connection meaningful, and the capacity for truly personalized intelligence.
It's the seamless ambient blending of digital output and physical reality.
So now we move from the technical ambition to the philosophical underpinnings. Building a platform so aggressively focused on enhancing connection. It presupposes that society is struggling with connection today.
And when you look at the data they shared, that assumption is validated in a very, very sobering way.
It highlights a fundamental social challenge that's pervasive: across modern society.
And these statistics, they reflect a worrying decline in social capital and human connection that started well before modern social media or smartphones.
Let's run through those data points again because they are jarring. The average American has fewer friends now than they did just 15 years ago.
That's a measurable, significant decline. And the drop in physical in-person socialization is severe. For American adults, it's down by nearly 30% over the last 20 years.
But the most alarming figure was for young people.
Ages 15 to 24, that drop is almost 70%, according to findings cited by the Surgeon General.
70%, that's not just a trend. That describes a massive societal shift in how we engage with each other face-to-face.
And on top of that, the share of Americans who say they don't have a single close friend has jumped from 3% to 12% in the last 30 years.
That's millions more people experiencing profound isolation. It almost makes the pursuit of digital presence feel less like a tech challenge and more like an emergency response to a massive societal deficit.
It does.
And this leads us right into that big public debate. Is technology, especially digital social media, responsible for replacing and therefore destroying physical connection?
Meta's view, as it will articulated, pushes back strongly on that idea of simple replacement. They argue that these tools don't displace existing physical connections.
Meaning, you won't spend less time with your spouse because you have holographic glasses.
Right. Instead, they say it unlocks more connection for people who already lack it or are geographically separated.
So the logic is, if I have a strong local network, the glasses don't erode it. But if my sibling lives across the country, being able to play a holographic game with them actually adds to my social capital.
Where before there was only a limited connection through a flat screen. It reframes the problem. They argue that the underlying loss of social capital, it predates or is parallel to modern tech, but not solely caused by it.
But let's introduce some critical tension here. That's a compelling argument. But isn't there a risk of the substitution effect?
That's the real fear.
If digital connections become so easy and convenient, holographic presence, perfect avatars, won't people just choose the convenient connection over the higher friction in-person meeting?
Convenience often wins. People might accelerate their avoidance of the effort required for physical socialization. We might prefer the lower friction, always-on connection with the distant sister over the high-effort dinner with a local acquaintance.
So their position is ultimately optimistic, that the tools are designed to solve a pre-existing deficit, not create a new one.
It's a gamble that the human need for genuine connection will always drive the user toward the highest quality of interaction, regardless of the medium.
This leads us to what is maybe the deepest philosophical question that these advanced AI and AR tools force us to confront.
The inherent value of struggle.
Right. Where is the line between AI removing a struggle that's a positive, good hindrance?
Yeah.
And AI removing a struggle that builds a necessary muscle for human development?
This is the core dilemma of highly advanced tools. If something difficult gets automated, is that always a good thing? It forces us to define what we think makes us human.
Okay, let's start with the clearest benefit, universal translation. Real-time, in-ear translation is already rolling out on the Ray-Ban Metas.
This seems like a clear, undeniable positive. It removes the struggle between people, the language barrier.
It fosters immediate, seamless, cross-cultural communication.
And this is contrasted with people who still choose to learn, say, Latin and Greek. They do it for enrichment, for historical study, for cognitive benefit, not functional necessity.
The functional need is gone, but the desire for cognitive expansion remains. The technology doesn't remove the choice to struggle.
But the question gets a lot muddier when we look at internal or creative struggles. The source raised the example of AI helping children or adults articulate complex emotions.
Think about a child struggling to explain why they're upset, or an adult trying to write a difficult email.
An AI co-pilot giving you instant, perfect articulation would be incredibly helpful in the moment. It reduces stress.
The act of struggling to organize that complex emotion, to map it onto language, to construct a sentence, that's fundamental to developing emotional maturity.
And critical thinking, a communicative muscle. If the AI provides the perfect output instantly, we might lose the developmental value of that struggle.
This is truly the calculator debate for the AI age, scaled up exponentially.
Yeah. For generations, educators debated if kids should still learn long division. Now it's, should kids learn foundational skills in writing or coding if AI can do it instantly?
The argument for preservation, as it was articulated, remains essential, especially in technical fields. Zuckerberg contends that teaching someone to code is still vital.
Even if AI can generate highly complex software instantly.
because the value is not the code itself.
The value is the process. Learning to code teaches a way to think rigorously, to break down a complex problem into logical steps. That development of rigorous thought makes you a better thinker overall.
If you don't know the logical structure, you can't debug the AI's output. You can't even give it the right prompt.
It's the muscle development, not the immediate functional need, that preserves the skill.
So similarly with language, perfect translation might make learning a second language less functionally relevant, but the process still helps you understand your own language, appreciate culture.
The tech solution removes the barrier to communication, but the human process of learning removes the barrier to understanding. And those are two very different things.
Ultimately, the vision here is optimistic, that human drive means we will always find new things to struggle with.
The moment a low-level task is automated, we don't relax. We immediately pivot to a more complex challenge. There's always more to do.
The tools don't eliminate the struggle. They just raise the bar for what we struggle with next. Okay, let's look at how this advanced AR and AI vision intersects with the platforms we use every day. Generative AI isn't just a productivity tool, it's fundamentally changing the landscape of social media.
And the creator economy. And this change has already been massive.
We've already seen social media shift from being mostly about friends interacting to the world where at least half the content you see involves creators or people you don't know.
And AI is going to accelerate that creator-driven trend exponentially.
So the first wave of this change will be enhancing the content friends generate themselves. Friend-generated content.
Right. AI will give powerful creative tools to the average user, removing the friction and time it takes to create compelling content. The source mentioned AI helping friends make funnier memes, or
compiling content captured by those AR glasses into interesting cinematic clips automatically.
imagine your glasses capture a great family moment. The AI recognizes the key emotional cues. It automatically trims it, edits it, adds music, and compiles it into a polished clip without you ever opening an editing app.
It just makes personal documentation richer and more compelling.
But the more transformative shift is the rise of the AI creators themselves, and this takes two main forms.
One is content that is purely generated by the system, personalized for the individual user.
This is an entirely new category. It's not just summarizing an article, it's producing personalized jokes for your specific sense of humor or generating custom interactive stories based on your history. The AI becomes a customized media generator.
And the second form, which really impacts the creator economy, is creators building AI artifacts of themselves.
This is the solution to the scaling problem for popular creators. If you're a high-profile figure, the demand from your community to interact with you is, well, it's nearly unlimited.
And you only have so many hours in the day.
Exactly. So the creator trains an interactive digital sculpture, an AI version of themselves, on their entire knowledge base, their tone, their personality.
And community understands it's not the actual creator, but they can interact with it 24/7.
It's a powerful tool for scaling presence and personality. It helps creators manage that nearly unlimited demand, grow their business, and provide a deep touch point for their community, even when the creator is asleep.
Now, the overwhelming pace of this change naturally sparks anxiety, right? Especially for creators or anyone starting their career. It can feel relentless.
Yeah, and the advice given here is grounded in historical perspective. Maintain curiosity and focus on leveraging the tools to live better rather than fighting the inevitable.
And the crucial point is that the next 10 years won't be a 0-to-1 change like the original internet was.
Right. The internet and the smartphone, those rewired society from the ground up. This is the next iteration. The people who will do well are the ones who develop a mindset of curiosity and adaptation, not avoidance.
Let's turn to one of the biggest strategic and philosophical debates in the AI industry right now. Centralization versus distribution, this whole open source debate.
This is a core difference in philosophy between Meta and some of its key competitors like OpenAI and Google. They tend to favor a single, hyper-powerful, centralized AI system, a massive brain that everyone interacts with.
And Meta, with Llama, is betting on a distributed future.
They believe technology will follow the path of the internet. Every business, every creator, and eventually many individuals will have their own customized, specialized AI, like we have different apps and websites today.
And open source is the mechanism to enable that.
It is. Open source means the fundamental code and architecture are freely available for anyone to take, modify, and build on. It allows for that rich, distributed ecosystem.
But the main counterargument, usually from those favoring centralized control, is all about safety and security.
They argue that keeping the model closed makes it safer, preventing bad actors from doing bad things with powerful AI.
But the source material offered a counterintuitive rebuttal.
It's based on decades of software development history. They argue that open source is actually safer and more secure in the long run.
Because it allows for more scrutiny.
Exactly. If the entire global community can inspect the code millions of eyes, not just a few internal security teams, security holes and bugs are found and fixed much, much faster.
Even though there's an initial risk of an exploit, the rapid correction cycle of the open source community outweighs that risk long term.
This broad, decentralized scrutiny acts as a rapid hardening process for the models. It's a bet on collective intelligence over centralized control.
We've saved the biggest, most genuinely open question for last. This question occupies the CEO's mind, and it really involves the fundamental future of the entire AI industry.
It's about the limits of the current technology.
The question is simply this: how far will the current transformer-based AI architectures scale?
In transformer architecture, just to define it, is the current dominant design of large language models. It's what's driven the incredible AI progress of the last 5 to 10 years.
Right. Historically, past AI systems would eventually hit a plateau or an asymptote where just throwing more data or more compute at them stopped yielding better results. You'd hit a ceiling.
But for the last decade, with these transformer architectures, we haven't found that end yet. The models just keep getting smarter and more capable with every injection of resources.
And that leads to a massive organizational gamble. The scale of the investment is just staggering.
Llama 3 was trained on, 10 to 20,000 GPUs? Llama 4 is planned to use over 100,000 GPUs, and Llama 5 will scale even further.
The stakes are astronomical. Meta is betting hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructure on the expectation that this scaling curve will continue to hold true.
There are two distinctly different futures riding on the answer to this technical question. The first, the one Meta is betting on, is that scaling continues for at least the next 20 years.
If so, the technological landscape will remain dynamic with continuous fundamental AI breakthroughs.
And a steady stream of compelling new products. But the second future
is that scaling stops.
If they hit that technical asymptote soon, the fundamental AI advances will slow down dramatically until a completely new architecture is invented.
Which would lead to a temporary but significant slowdown in technological progression across the whole ecosystem. It is the ultimate high-stakes question.
The future of a substantial part of the global economy is riding on whether the transformer architecture has a limit.
So what does this all mean for us, for you listening? We've deeply explored a future platform defined by a spectrum of AR devices fueled by these core values of digital presence and deeply personalized AI.
All while forcing society to confront these massive existing challenges around connection and the fundamental human need for struggle.
The sheer technical ambition is breathtaking. But the technologies being built are fundamentally forcing us to confront deeply human questions.
It's not just about technical limits, like how to simulate haptic force. It's about societal limits. What is authentic connection? What human effort is truly worth preserving when automation becomes seamless and instant?
That's a powerful reflection. We've seen that the struggle to express ourselves, to learn a skill, to articulate a feeling, that struggle is what builds cognitive and emotional muscle.
So here's the final thought. If AI can effectively articulate the perfect expression of your complex thoughts and feelings in real time, does the struggle to find the right words still matter?
Or does the tool simply raise the expectation of what our communication should achieve?
Perhaps the struggle doesn't vanish. Perhaps it just moves from trying to get the right words out to struggling to define the perfect intention for the AI to execute. We stop struggling with mechanics and start struggling with philosophy and intent.
That's something for you to mull over as you watch the next generation of computing emerge.
Thank you for diving deep with us.
We'll see you next time.